Who are you?
I'm Bill Gates, Chief Software Architect at Microsoft.
Wow. Well, thanks for meeting with us. I know your time's pretty short today. A few weeks ago, we interviewed Mark McDonald, the first Microsoft employee, right? And he told us about when Microsoft started, they were in a small apartment, the whole dev team. What's the most surprising thing that's happened to Microsoft since those early days, or to you?
Well, I think the most amazing thing is that the dream that we had back then about the importance of software and that this whole personal computer thing would happen, that's actually become a reality. You know, we thought we were kind of just some crazy guys, and as Mark said, we had a deck writer terminal in the apartment, and you know, we'd get up and write code in the morning, and we'd be there 24 hours later. It was all just 8080 assembler code, the first basic interpreter. And we really thought it was something quite important, and you know, we thought we saw something that others didn't. We thought all the computer companies in the world were just missing out, and this was going to change their world. And every part of that became true. The machines still don't understand speech, and they're still not as simple as we dreamed of. But you know, give us another 10, 15 years, and I think we'll solve those problems too.
Many people must wonder, why are you still working? I mean, you really don't need to work for the reasons, you know, I need to work. Right?
Well, I think there's a lot of people who work for reasons other than just plain economics. And my job is as interesting a job as I can imagine. The smart people I get to work with, the problems we're working on are just so interesting. And the dream of what the PC should be, we're not there yet. You know, it's not simple enough, it's not secure enough. You know, writing programs, when people write business applications, it's still largely duplicative. We haven't boiled it down to the simplest thing where you can just edit that business process and the things happen automatically. You know, Office is great, but it still doesn't let me share and collaborate the way that I'd like to. All my communications tools, you know, make me think about phone numbers and replication and different interfaces. It's way too hard. And it's within the power of software, the software industry, Microsoft and its partners, to solve every one of those problems. I'll say in the next 10 years, but my scheduling capabilities aren't my strongest suit. Sometimes things I say will happen in 10 take quite a bit longer. And so the software industry, this is the coolest time in the software industry, and it's the best industry there is. You know, we're enabling so many things to go on. The hardware guys have given us the tools. They're giving us better screens, high-speed wireless, big disks, and there's almost nothing we could dream about that those hardware guys aren't going to hand us. And the whole thing about does it come together or not, is TV revolutionized? Do students not have textbooks but these little tablets? That's a software problem.
If there's one technology trend to pay attention to right now, what is it?
Well, I think people underestimate how natural interface will change things, and that's these things that have been out there for ages. You know, cameras are cheap, so can you know what's going on? Who's there? Is he paying attention to the screen? Is he meeting with somebody? Speech recognition is right on the verge, where on the mobile phone, if you want to search and find something, that'll be the way you do it.
I remember at MVP summits, every year we ask you, is speech going to be here next year? Is it close? Is it going to be something that we're going to see soon?
Well, the quality keeps getting better, and then at some point there's a magic threshold where it just becomes common sense to use it. And I believe that's within the next 5 years, say 2 to 5 year time frame. Certainly Microsoft's investment in this is higher than ever, and we see those quality improvements. Part of it's these array microphones will help us gather the information better. Partly having a model of what words you might use, where we do what's called harvesting your documents and look at the email names you use a lot, understanding the context, and better input models. We'll make speech mainstream. I've been saying speech, I've been saying tablet, I've been talking about unified file system. There's some of these dreams that, darn it, I'm going to make sure we achieve them.
Well, you mentioned my favorite thing in the tablet PC too. you know, and I've gotten around your company with this little camcorder,
Yeah.
and my favorite three teams are the tablet PC team, the Virtual Earth team, and the Windows Media Center team. Is the tablet still happening? I mean, I keep hearing.
Oh, absolutely.
I keep hearing
The
the
hardware-
naysayers, you know.
Well, yeah, and you know, that's fine. You know, Windows had its naysayers, and we proved them wrong. And you know, every Office category we were in, people thought, you know, we wouldn't do that well, but you know, we've done very well there. So we're very persistent. You know, take something like IPTV. We started more than 10 years ago, and now very few people would say that wasn't a good investment, but even a year ago it might have seemed that way. Likewise, the database, you know, taking on Oracle, that's a long-term thing. You got to do really incredible work. Taking on Sony in video games, taking on Nokia in phones. We take the hard ones. Tablet is one I love because we're out there alone. There is no competitor. You can't say, you know, it's the Microsoft tablet versus somebody else's tablet. But that idea that a student for $500 can have something, all their textbooks are there, the whole internet is there, communicating in rich ways are there, it's lighter than their textbooks. Over a period of years, it's actually cheaper.
Now wait a second, $500?
Well, this is
I want a $500 tablet.
Not today. We've got pretty good tablets, say at $1,200 or so.
Yeah.
Over the next 3 or 4 years, it's just going to get lighter and thinner, and the software is going to get better and better. And so the dream, not today's reality, the dream is that student tablet. Now, even before then, we want people in offices when they go to meetings to take it, to use it for their notes and that kind of thing. And this is a big year. The hardware improvement our partners have brought forward this year are really fantastic. You know, getting it into retail, getting students going with it. So we're seeing a good uptick. We've more than doubled, but we're not mainstream yet, but we're committed to get there.
Yeah. This is going to air, I think, right before the PDC. And I'm getting around and meeting the Office 12 teams and the Windows Vista teams, and there's some really interesting things coming out. What interests you the most in both of those products?
Well, the PDC is a great phenomena, and I'm really thrilled to get to show off a lot of the progress we've had and talk about the opportunity it creates for software developers. Office 12, just phenomenal, what we've been able to do there. And it really has to do with Office as a platform. You know, we've always talked about that, but the way you connected through Office always had to be through sort of its user interface and command structure. Now with the magic of XML, we let people feed data in and out of those Office applications in a very straightforward fashion. And so that, you know, all these people who've dreamed about XML and what it would allow and where it was going, Office 12 is largely a realization of that. And Office 12 as well is just a cool thing. You know, the people at the PDC probably use Office and they'll see some things there that they'll make them a lot more effective.
Yeah. Isn't the reign of the geek over? I mean, if you were 18 again, would you still be going into computers?
Absolutely. There's no other field that is changing the world like this. There's only one that's even close, which is biology. And, you know, those guys are kind of geeks too, just more with test tubes and DNA sequences than machine code. But software has not solved the tough problems. You know, eventually machine learning, all this natural interface, we're going to make these things so that the economy is different, so that learning is different, so that the whole way you look at entertainment is different. And we're just touching the surface of it. You can see it a bit in photography, a bit in music, some of the demonstrations with TV. You didn't mention Xbox 360. That's kind of a fun.
Well, we're going to end the interview on that.
All right.
Is there an Xbox up here to play? I still haven't had my hands on a 360 yet.
Neither do I, but I'll probably get one in a month or two here.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you look at that high definition entertainment, you know, it's going to be very different. And software geeks are the people who get to make those breakthroughs.
Yeah. As I've been meeting with, yesterday I met with the networking team, and I met with the Indigo team, or what is it now called? Windows
Communications framework.
Thank you. I'm still learning all the new names. Why does Microsoft invest so much in connected systems, connecting technologies like that?
Well, most of what we do is just a platform for other software developers who understand the vertical or the solution they're trying to come up with better than we do, but we can make it so they don't have to write nearly as much code. And over time, things like printer drivers, graphics interface, you used to have to build those into applications. Now, of course, you don't do those. But when it came to software running on two different computers and how you would send lots of data back and forth and get it in the right order and get it to be secure, and if one fails, know how to recover from that. There was a ton of code and applications having to do with all this kind of queuing and security. Yeah. Very complex. And what we're doing with this communications framework is taking that whole area and saying, here's a set of capabilities, and you just select the ones you want. Instead of us just having a very heavyweight protocol that tries to do all those things, you select in the capabilities, and then your applications gets a runtime from us that relieves you of having to get involved in that. So with the internet now moving away from just being a presentation network with HTML and being a data network where any piece of software can talk to any other piece of software, primarily using XML, having that communications part of the program work the right way, be reliable, that's become super important. And so this invention of the communication framework and all these web services, WS, this and that around it, it's very timely. It's taking the connectivity and letting software use that connectivity.
Yeah. I asked Steve Ballmer when I interviewed him, what, it's hard to come up with hard questions for you because you've heard every question in the book.
I don't know.
What would be the question you would be asking if you were in my chair? Of the guy who started Microsoft. Yeah.
Well, it's, people often talk about, have we seen the best days in software? And, I know that's not the case. It is interesting that in some ways, in terms of the field of study, people going into college, software is not as big as it used to be. There are a lot of questions about will these software jobs be as interesting? Will they be primarily in the United States, or should people worry about where they'll be elsewhere? That's a tough question people ask, and I'm always very clear that the really most complex work is being done here in this country, and we're going to have people everywhere, a China lab, an India lab, and get them working together using the effective software. So I have a college tour this year. I did one last year. I'm going to another 6 campuses to really get people invigorated about the opportunities that we've all got.
How do you want to be remembered?
Well, I don't think being remembered is important. I don't think it's a good way to decide what you want to do. I mean, for me, every day I want to make sure I'm motivating people and hopefully sharing some good ideas, or if a product's not very good, hopefully telling them how some positive way they can make it better. And then having long-term goals around the empowerment of software and what the software industry should be able to do for people. It's always re-energizes me when I go into a school and see how kids are using software, or I go to where people have disabilities and see that, or through my foundation work, if I go to a hospital in Africa and see that software is letting them find out new techniques or share the data about what's going on there and getting that back to experts in the rest of the world. I see software being this incredibly magical thing, and so it reinforces the idea of we're kind of on the right track, and we should stay true to it. Work super hard, continue to bring in the best people who can deal with these things. I do think the creation of the PC and the software industry around it was an incredible opportunity that we got to be there at the very beginning, and I think that will be remembered, that there was a PC and that computers once upon a time were just these scary things that you would think, gosh, I better fold or staple these cards I get in the mail because these bad guys are using these computers against me. Even today, the issues of privacy and security are coming up, and it's going to take a lot of software invention to deal with those the right way. And so, I hope people don't remember spam. I hope they don't remember the complexity. I hope they see that we've solved those things and never think about them again.
What would you ask me?
Well, I'd say, thanks for doing such a good job in blogging and this video stuff of getting people to know some of the great developers here at Microsoft, so that their energy and their desire to do things better, it gets out there. When you think of a company as just sort of this amorphous large thing, it's kind of so impersonal, and it's like everything they do must have some weird reason that they're doing it. But then when you come in and meet the people, it's like, oh, that's why they did it that way. Okay, and they do feel bad about this thing doesn't work right, and they really are going to fix that, or oh, maybe even it makes more sense than I thought. So letting people have a sense of the people here, and as people get to know the people here, maybe they'll tell us more about how we can improve our products. Having that connection, we've always believed in that, and now through blogging, Channel 9, we're hopefully reaching out to an even broader set of people to talk about where we're going and have them feel like they're a part of it. I know the PDC will be a great milestone in that, but it's something we believe in every day.
To end up, do you ever come on Channel 9?
I haven't been on Channel 9 as much as I'd like to be. And I know it's a good thing you're getting out and getting the people who really write the code, not just us executives, because that's, that I'm sure your viewers want to meet people who really do this stuff. So I think you're doing it the right way, but I'm always available.
Thank you. Thanks for spending some time with us.
You bet.